And we're back. Happy Thursday morning,
Low energy.
everybody. CP does his
JD, you're
thing.
too young to be low T.
I have the highest of T's. Don't you worry. I don't
There's
need
no way
the
with that
intro.
intro.
I don't need the big fancy intro to bring the energy. My T's the highest.
You're bringing everybody else's tea down collectively. We're gonna
You old guys got to worry about your T. I don't got to worry about my T.
with intros like this, we got to worry about it, but we'll be okay.
Yes, agreed.
I'm joined by David Bray here to my left, Ben Askren via satellite, and also via satellite, James Green, your USA Wrestling developmental coach. James, how are you doing today?
I'm good. Can't complain, Always nice to start the day early and talking about wrestling.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
7:15 out there in Colorado Springs, so thank you for joining us extra early this morning. We kind of wanted to chat with you because you now have one full season as the USA Wrestling developmental coach kind of under your belt. Your thoughts, your reaction to how this summer went for you?
Oh man, I think it went as best as possible. Coming out, starting with the bang with the U17 team, kind of setting the precedent, and followed up by U20 team, second place. But we came away with a lot of medals, and especially that team with how close they are to being on a senior stage. It's always a good sign to see because all that stuff is relatively close. You'll be wrestling those same guys going throughout the rest of your career, and I think they did great. And then obviously, I wasn't at the Senior World Championships, but man, just to watch, that historic performance was a special moment, and I'm glad that was my first year. I thought about retiring with that, but I'll try and do it again.
So, speaking of retirement, I think your retirement from competing surprised a lot of people in your transition to coaching. Was that, were you thinking about that for a while, or was that kind of a spur of the moment sort of decision?
No, it's one of those things that it's kind of been ongoing. As a wrestler, you have a lot of injuries or things that you try to control, and it just kind of got to the point where it just was bothering me too much, and I needed a lot of good things to happen for me to perform at the highest level, and not just perform but train. So there was just always a lot of I train hard and I need a long break. Then I train hard, need a long break. So just to continue to do that, and you know, everything's not guaranteed with the whole being on the world team and then having to wait a year and things of that nature. But I actually, even I think during COVID, I remember Ben got his surgery. I asked him about how that went. So it's been something that's been on my mind.
Have you got that yet or no?
I got it scheduled for December. So
Okay. You're gonna love it.
found somebody.
Nice.
You getting a new hip?
Yeah, so my right hip, actually both my hips, are kind of, I had both like hip dysplasia in both my hips. I was a right leg lead, so my right hip went, and it's really when your hip socket isn't covered all the way. So anything I was doing, I was tearing at my labrum, and I had my first surgery in 2017. So after I took second, and it's just kind of been a ongoing things, I can get back to this place where I was. And I had my good days, my bad days, but then eventually it just kind of reverted back to where I was prior to 2017. So I was back to bone on bone with my right hip, and my left hip is heading in that direction. So, I mean, just a kind of back and forth thing, me trying to be tough, and then obviously what I physically could and couldn't do. So got that surgery scheduled for December and plan on getting a new hip by then for my 30th birthday.
Even with the hip issues, I mean, you were still wrestling really at a high level. I mean, beat Zayn this year. And what was it like, kind of passing the torch to a guy that went on and made the finals, helped the team win? But I don't know. Was it in the back of your head? Like, I mean, I was able to beat this guy this year. Was that something you're thinking about?
Man, I was always wondering how it would feel just kind of watching the World Championships, and there's like a little bit of you like, oh man, if this guy wins, then dang, that's upsetting. But I was like kind of almost more upset that he didn't win. I'm like, oh, this guy, he's capable. He's capable. He can win. And he had a great tournament. And hindsight, that I wasn't planning on Zayn being my last match. It just kind of happened that way. So, I think that he's in a good spot to continue to be in the world team as long as he wants. We have some depth at 70, obviously with Alec Pantelio and Berger and Deacon. So I think those guys will do well. And obviously we have some young guys, shoot Messenbrink, Ben get in that mix.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it's exciting to see.
I want to switch gears to coaching a little bit.
I don't
go
think
ahead,
that's
man.
ever gonna go away though. That desire. It still bugs me sometimes. Like want to go back there and wrestle people.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You're gonna get your hip done. You're gonna feel good. And you're like, oh, I want to get.
Oh yeah.
Here.
So when I got the job, I got the job and I came out. I moved in May, so we had our senior camps, and I had like 3 day from May to June or July. I forget when the first senior camp was, but I hadn't wrestled, so we had the senior guys in, and a couple guys needed partners. So there was like 3 days where I'm like, I had to wrestle. First day felt great. Second day felt great. I'm like, man, oh my gosh, I can't believe I didn't wrestle this year. Third day, I'm like, oh my gosh, I hope nobody picks me. I hope nobody picks me to go. So, but yeah, it definitely. I think the World Championships will always fire me up. But like Ben said, we'll see.
Yeah. Where do you want to go?
I'm curious what the feeling was like at those age level world championships, and not just what it felt like to be leading that team, but kind of how do you approach that type of coaching, and how hands on are you with those guys as they're performing versus how much do you turn it over to their individual coaches?
Well, I feel like with the U17 team, it was kind of more hands on just because we had, the guys are younger. They're not really having as much individual coaches. So at camps, we did a lot, whether they wanted to wrestle, one-on-one or talk about technique. I met individually with all those guys just to get to know them. Obviously, I'm fresh off the scene, so I really didn't know much about a lot of the athletes. So met with them one-on-one, talked about their goals, their ideas, how they like to wrestle, what they like to do, what they like to hear from the corner. And then also with the assigned coaches and personal coaches. So for U17, we had Brian Tucker and Cornell Robinson. And Cornell, he's been around that age level group for a long time. So he really resonated well with those athletes, and he's been around that kind of competition. And then the cool thing about U17 is we did have Mike Machiavello. He came, so those guys loved him. Just to kind of see that senior athlete be around and help them, I think that really just kind of brought energy to those guys. And then also too, that whole team, they've seemed to kind of compete and be around each other way more times than just at camp and the World Championships. So they had a kind of definitely team camaraderie going into it. Everybody was fired up. Everybody, it's like they been around each other for years. So that was another cool aspect. And then really, as we got to World Championships, you just kind of there's 10 athletes, so you have to divvy it up. They did have personal coaches, and it's just kind of not getting in their way, whether they want you in the corner, whether they just kind of want you in the back, trying to scout, game plan. So definitely a different approach, but I enjoyed it a lot. And also, I feel like with me, obviously, I'm kind of low key a little bit, and for me not to be kind of worried and not stressful. I think that they just felt cool, calm, collective, and um, yeah, they went out and dominated. So U20 was just a little different. A lot of those guys are going to college, so you want them to kind of get used to their college coach if they did come out and sit in their corner and really prepare them for that next level. So I think I was a little bit more hands off with those guys, but also lend an ear and kind of just help manage, facilitate, really get into the venue, make sure they got what they need, scouting. Iran had a great team, obviously, for U20. So I think that's really the cool aspect as a coach, because me being fresh off the scene, I feel like even as an athlete, I'm like learning. I'm like, oh, this, these wrestling is so available that these younger guys they're levels beyond at least where I was when I was at that age. So just to hear their insight on what they think on how they should approach their match, because they all seem to have watched or know the guys in the bracket, which was another cool thing to see. So I never really was that athlete to kind of look and watch video on people, but I felt like when meeting with the athletes, they all knew like, oh, this guy does this. I need to do that. I need to be ready. So it's kind of like a lot easier. These guys are all professional, and I think USA Wrestling is just going to be in good hands for a long time.
I
Nice.
agree.
So,
Do you?
hey, you guys got sorry, Jay, you guys got this on the doc, and I think it'll be interesting to talk about with James. But we've talked about it kind of being a golden era of United States wrestling the last handful of years, and probably still into that era. What do you attribute that to? Because obviously you're part of it, and now you're coaching in it. What do you think the factors are that are moving us in that direction?
So I would say this because it's been repeated, but getting the athletes, and this is at all age levels, at the training center at the same time is obviously it proves to work out a lot, because back in 2017 when we won, that's exactly what happened. Cadets, I think, took second, and juniors won the world championship in 2017, and we all had camp the same time. So obviously we had COVID, but I just remember that in 2017, just for the athletes to be able to rub shoulders. When I was on the team, I remember seeing David Carr come. David Carr was there. Yeah, Aaron Brooks was there. So you're just having these guys at a younger age being able to, one, see what it takes, see what the older guys are doing, and seeing what not to do, right? How to take care of their body, how to move off the mat, how to handle themselves in a different environment. So I think the more often that we all, as age levels across the board, could get together, and even if it's 5-10 days, it still brings a high energy, because everyone that's coming to the training center or coming to camp, they all got the same goal. Either they want to be a world championship or they want to be on the same team. So I think one cool thing that I noticed for sure, especially at this age level, was that Lillendahl and Bo Bassett, they worked out every day at camp. Wow. And I remember just saying, like, man, I've never seen Jordan and Kyle Dake work out at camp ever. So, this guy just beat him
I
off
thought
the
they
team.
were best friends.
Right. So, just to see that level of professionalism is really cool to see. And I that was just one thing that, blew me away. I was like, wow, they're serious. They take it, they're treating it in, day out. They're trying their best to be their best selves. So I think, if we could keep doing that, and then obviously RTCs being relatively close to colleges, or even that PNL group, all that stuff is going to take off.
Nice. Yeah, I agree. That's something we discuss a lot, because it really is. James, you're probably too young to remember. We sucked for a while. Like when I was on the team, we were not good. It was really man, if we brought home a couple medals, we were kind of pumped. And now it's like this year we had freaking 8 in the finals. Like that was that never happened ever. Crazy.
Yeah.
JD, where do you want to go with it?
Yeah, you mentioned Jordan. We have a question in the chat talking about asking how influential he was to you, both at Nebraska and then afterwards in your senior level career.
Um, Man, just to be in the room with Jordan and watch him work, it's kind of just how I was saying with the younger guys. You're just seeing what it takes to be at that high level. Um, and JB is just different. He never came into practice. If something was wrong at home or something was wrong, you would never know. He just like was always about his work. So, and brought this competition factor into the room. I really didn't start wrestling with him until probably like my junior year. I was of college, but still seeing him and watching him train for World Championships or the Olympics was special to be a part of. And then once we started training, it was just like, yeah, you're never done practice until Jordan's done practice. So that was pretty cool. Like if you go with JB, it's always one more. So just that mindset, I think, to prove that, whether it's practice or um, a camp or training, you're just drilling, warming up. It's like, I'm the best guy in here. So, I'm going to do the work until everyone knows that. So I think that's kind of special. And obviously JB's still going. So I think, he's a legend, the GOAT in my mind. So for USA Wrestling, but yeah, I was very thankful to be, around Jordan for that time.
I'm surprised to hear you say you didn't work out with him until probably your junior year because you came in right away, didn't redshirt, and took third, correct?
No, I took 7-7, third.
Seventh, seventh,
So
third. But still, to make the podium as a true freshman at a
yeah.
middleweight, especially like you did, how were you ready right away like that?
So well, Snyder was still wrestling, Brian Snyder. So I wrestled him quite a bit. And when my freshman year, he was also wrestling Jordan. At that time, I'm like, dang, Snyder could come back and make a team because he was really he was really good. And also this is before 70 kilos, so I was a small 157. I wrestled 157 during the year, and then I wrestled 66 um, for freestyle, which is crazy. So, uh, yeah, really, like I didn't really grow into 57 until I'd say going into my junior year. And I drilled with Jordan, but I never like, went live goals or anything. So we rolled around, but I didn't start really wrestling or putting hands on him until then. And also, 74 kilos back then was a day before weigh-in. So I definitely wasn't wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
He was a little big back then. Still, he's even bigger now.
Yeah, for real.
Mhm.
Good joke. So can Snyder still go with you or not?
No, oh man, I call him every day. He's saying he's better, but I tell him I beat him with two bad hips.
That's funny. Hey, so as far as coaching, is it something you always find yourself doing, or is it as your body, is harder and harder to train on a daily basis that you want to get into it? And is it like this is the job for you forever, or you think you want to do college coaching or club coaching, or kind of how do you think about the coaching realm?
So I definitely always wanted to coach. I felt like I always thought I was going to stay in Nebraska forever. So, I had really good relationship with Brian Snyder. I just thought this is where I need to be. And as far as coaching college, I don't know if I'd get into coaching unless it was at Nebraska. I like freestyle. I like the freestyle season. I feel like college, and this would be kind of me going back and forth, but college, you have 30 guys on the team or whatever, and 10-man lineup.
Yep.
10 of those guys are there, or 10 to 12 of those guys are, oh, I'm trying to get on this lineup. The other 10 are, well, I'm here trying to do something, get school. And then the other 10 are might be just appreciative of the gear and stuff like that. So, just a lot of management that I feel like I've seen with my time around college. And I feel like with freestyle or being at the training center or at an RTC is like, well, obviously these guys, they're coming here because they want to be here. So
Yeah.
that just kind of takes care of that part. And that's something I like about here is that, yeah, if an athlete wants to be a part of the EAP program or come out to the training centers because they want to be here. So that kind of energy, that kind of mindset takes care of itself, and then you just got to bring out the talent side of it. So I again, I think unless it was Nebraska or maybe just a good opportunity, I don't know about college, but definitely freestyle USA Wrestling for the time being.
Nice.
I'm curious, James, like how much a part of your job is recruiting? Because I have a feeling it's more than people realize. Like both, whether it's athletes to the EAP or getting guys to come be part of camps, or maybe it's even convincing some guys to compete at trials. How much recruiting are you doing, and what kinds of conversations are you having with coaches and athletes about that stuff?
So a lot, and really, so with the EAP elite athlete program, we have 8 beds, and with COVID happening, I think it kind of slowed down what was happening here, right? Because KJ was here, he had his last group of guys, Rocky Helm, Aaron Brooks, uh, I forget the Tag brothers. So there it was kind of always going here, and then when it slowed down, I think kind of people forgot, and then also because of COVID, it just made people elevate what they had around them. So you're trying to battle uh, an athlete, being basically trying to get a junior or senior in high school to kind of commit to the lifestyle before college, and um, that comes with a lot of dynamics, the parent side, the coaches at the club, or even the coaches at the college, right? They want if they're recruiting someone, they want that guy to either come to their school right away, or jump in the lineup, be around the team, get to know what it's like, because it's folk style. It's a college season. The college season is way different from just folk freestyle. So they want to see if that athlete can, get through there. So I feel like I've been dealing with really a bunch of different things. Like I said, the parents, the college coaches, and then even RTC. And I'm gonna put Ben out there, even like a Ben. If I ask Ben, hey, you got any guys that would be interested? Obviously, Ben's been putting in work with these kids, and he's building a great thing at AWA. So we don't want to steal or feel like we're stealing or hurting anyone, but definitely try to help elevate as much as possible, which is not a bad thing. We still have things that we can offer, which we outside of camps or the elite athlete program. If an athlete wants to come out for a week or two, we almost like a recruiting trip, I would say, we get them out here, part of the plan that we have going on, get them into practices, get them to see what we have to offer, and hopefully that might spark a conversation for, instead of 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, because they want to come out here and we get some different partners. And it just gives you an opportunity to come out and be around the senior athletes, and not just wrestling, but other sports. So you can see what other athletes are doing, how they handle themselves, how they go about their day-to-day. And it's really a big family here. Even when I did have some athletes out, there was like Boxing International week. So we got to go see boxing spar, and they had a good thing going on. So that's what I'm learning. My time being here, I go out and just kind of, it's nice when you're, for example, I was with the U17. If I could get all those guys here, that would be great, right? Because they're going to be hopefully leading the future. So, but that's a big wish and a big ask. But I'm confident that with the upcoming Olympic year, we'll have more athletes wanting to commit. So it's been fun. It's something I like to do. And again, we're not trying to steal or hurt anybody. We're just trying to help out. And I feel like whether it's the best guy or the next best guy, somebody's going to take the opportunity, and they'll be thankful. So.
Do you have any kids that are spending a lot of time regularly out there right now yet?
I have 3 athletes here right now. And then
Who's that?
We got Quavel Quintanali, Ethan Friend, and EJ Teskin. Quavel and Ethan are both going to Super 32. So obviously they're seniors in high school. We still want them to get that folk style, get out in front of colleges. and then we'll probably do the Cowboy Open, and we have to wait to see what UWW offers for U20, U17 for next year. After World Cup, they kind of release that schedule, and then we'll try and get them overseas. And also, it's not like so that's 3 beds. That means I have 5 left, and it's not like you know it's like, hey, June comes, we need somebody out here. I could, if somebody said, hey, I think this is what I want to do, they want to come out here 2 weeks from now, we could do that. So I'll be going down to Super 32, and as I'm trying to help those guys, doing the same thing. Hey, want to come out to the training center, spend some time, and again, I think really, I think we'll have more athletes wanting to come out a week here, a week there, because you know they have their teams at home, and or they're on a great team, or they're just trying to make history as far as be a 4-time state champ or whatever, So, um, and that's understandable. Can't be mad about that. So, yeah, we got 3 athletes now, and there's Greco have some athletes, women have some athletes. So I think at the training center in general, it's just kind of getting that whole program rolling again.
Ben, are you going to cough up some athletes or what?
Oh man, I'm not. We had this conversation. You put me on blast. Because Kevin Jackson wanted Keegan to come out, and I pushed back kind of hard on Keegan on that one. I mean, it's many years ago. Like, hey, I've been coaching you since you're 10 years old, and I would like to finish this before you go to college, and you do have good training partners. He was actually in a situation where he was probably better than everyone in the room his senior year. But, like I say, like a Sinclair now, or even a Mitchell last year, they got good guys they can go with. They got Mirasolas, Millard, Licht. I mean, we've got a ton, Mulvaney, right? Tons of good guys. So they're not kind of hurting for training partners. But I really would. And I sent one guy, it was kind of late notice for that August camp, but I got one guy, Jake Stoffel, to go out, and he really loved it. So I would really love to take advantage of sending my guys out there for a week or whatever. And, I think if you guys did that more often, I think our guys would definitely take advantage of it. And I think kind of other clubs probably feel it similarly. And it's just like, because to your point, what you said about the U17s and U20s earlier, like getting to rub shoulders with the older guys and watch how they do it and watch why they're successful. There's a lot of value in that. And so do you guys need to live there to get that value? It probably couldn't hurt, right? But if they can just go out there like 2 weeks a year and they're watching the way the senior level athletes work, I think it'll be huge value to them. So I definitely want to send guys to camp. I don't want to get rid of any of my guys. I like them all.
Well, I'm curious, like what the ideal athlete for that program looks like. And one thing, Ben, you said about Keegan was like, well, he probably was ahead of a lot of the guys in the room. But is that one thing? But either one of you guys that you think makes sense for somebody like this is if somebody's way ahead of everybody else around them, or what?
I mean, not that James. I'll go for a quick second, and then James can give his answer too. Is I feel like, well, number one, obviously, I have faith in myself and Coach Messenbrink and Max, and we have a lot of good resources within our program here, and then we have a lot of athletes who are comparable to each other. A lot of college guys coming back. But yeah, especially if one athlete is way out in front of everyone else and there's no one that can really compete with them in the room. And then number two, if a coach has technical limitations, I mean, and in my opinion, a great coach is someone who understands like, hey, I'm limited here. Let's go use that next guy, right? So maybe an athlete isn't from the middle of nowhere and we'll say Wyoming or Montana or something like that. And he's like, man, I was a good high school wrestler, but you are exceeding my capabilities. Hey, go down and, live at the training center. And, James is way beyond what I can do. So, get love from him, that type of thing.
Yeah, I definitely would agree because that's basically, if you're looking back, you got a guy like Kyle Snyder wrestling in Maryland, and he's jumping levels there, and he realized like I need to get some good training in. And I think a part of our USA wrestling era is the fact that we've kind of managed that aspect with the RTCs or with these clubs, AWA, Valiant Prep, and Davis Club. They're all either got good partners, they have great coaches, and then they're relatively close to some RTCs. So you have that, you're getting your club your age level wrestling, and then you're also still rubbing shoulders with some of the older guys. So, um, yeah, I feel like when you get to a point where you do have some athletes that don't have that necessarily around them, and they're looking for that extra help or just that jump in training, is where we're at now. So, yeah, it's an interesting thing. I feel like we're in a good place, and kind of like to Ben's point, I think we'll have more athletes come out here a week or two at a time, and I think I've been talking to some athletes. We have a camp, senior camp in November. We're gonna get them out here for a little bit. Just it's a evaluation camp for the seniors, but they get to see what that's like, and my whole thing is just try to get them ready for that, right? You bring them out. Like I met with the U17 team. That's what Bill does with the senior guys, get to know them. And I always tell people this is that Bill was my first coach back in 2013. So, and now he's a
Really?
senior. Yeah, as far as my first world team that I made, university team, he was the coach for that. So,
Wow.
and now here we are, 2022. He's the head coach. So those ongoing relationships, I think they help a lot. And I think Bill obviously would know better, but he had Gilman, he had Zane, all on like the age level teams. So he's been around basically all those guys for a very long time since they were young.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Ben, it was interesting to hear you say that, like, about coaches recognizing their limitations. There's an interview with Aaron Brooks that just hit the site. Those guys out there talking with him, and he said, I mean, that's basically what happened to him in Maryland. His coach was like, he told him, I think maybe even when he was a freshman, man, you're so advanced in wrestling. Like I may not ever be able to teach you a move you don't know. I'll help you be a better man, and we'll try to find opportunities. And I think that was a big reason why his senior year he went out to Colorado Springs and trained out there, and had full support from that coach. So it's kind of cool.
That's the best kind of coach, though.
Yeah.
I mean, right? The worst kind of coach is one who's got too much ego, who says, "Listen to me, I know it all," and then they really don't, And even me, it's like, we had Kendrick Maple come visit last week, and him and Keegan are both doing this little like catch the fake thing, And it's like, so I'm like, hey, oh man, I got you in the room. I'm gonna steal you because you are way better at this than me. Can you just show everyone what you're doing here, And then I tried teaching it last week, and I'm like, I kind of suck at this. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm like, let me call him. So then, I called him, and I kind of talked through all the issues, and then I brought it back last night. I'm like, hey guys, okay, here's the two issues we were having. Here's how he thinks we can solve them. Let's go, And so it's like, even though I achieved high level in wrestling, it's like I don't have an ego about it. It's like if he knows more than me, I'm gonna go call him and say, hey, how do I do this? Like I like what you're doing. Let me steal that. And I think that's that the best coaches have the ability to put their ego aside and say what's best for my athlete. And I think about it in the terms of son or daughter. Like for my daughter in soccer, I'm not going to fake like I know a lot about soccer. It's like if she wants to be great at it, I'm going to go find someone else. I'm not going to be like, Alex, I know what I'm talking about, because I have no idea what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
To switch things back kind of to your competitive career, James, listener Jeff Baxter wants to know your most memorable match or moment as a competitor on the senior level.
My first bronze medal in Vegas, because it was in front of my friend's family and on home soil. So, they didn't. I'm the only wrestler in my family, so they don't really they didn't get to watch me wrestle, and for the long time, they always couldn't believe that I was still wrestling. So, for them to be able to come to Vegas and see me win a medal, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I bet.
Right.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I'm good.
Well,
yeah,
James,
awesome having you on. Hey, do some more camps. You got me thinking. I don't want to put me on blast. So I'll turn you a favor.
Go ahead.
I would love to send those guys out for some camps. So, the more often you can convince USA Wrestling to put up some bed. I don't know if they got to put up some beds or put up some money or I don't know what they got to put up, but we'd love to send the guys out a couple of times a year. I think it'd be a great experience.
Yeah, I think really too the big issue or not issue, but problem is that we go into that folk style season. So people are like, oh, we're coming out here. We got to wrestle freestyle. Like, no, the guys here are getting ready for Super 32. We've gone up to Air Force and they're doing folk style. So that's pretty cool for them. And then when it's time for freestyle, we'll get them going. So I think that's another thing, misconception that people kind of get is like, oh, we're going to the training center. I'm trying to get ready for folk style. I was like, oh, we could do that too. Don't worry, it's all wrestling.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, no doubt, we will definitely make it happen.
Well, my parents
Awesome.
are in Colorado Springs. They got 3 empty bedrooms. I'm sure they can all just stay there. It'll be fine. It'll be no problem. I haven't asked them, but I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah.
All right, James. Well, thank you for joining us
Thanks,
bright and
James.
early
Thank you guys.
this morning
Appreciate it.
from Colorado Springs. You're doing a great job. I think this summer was evidence enough, so keep up the good work.
Yeah. Appreciate it. You guys have a good one.
All right, see ya.
See you, James.
Talk to you later. Well, James, he's a good guest, good coach. USC Wrestling clearly in good hands.
You know what? I just went back to the doc after the interview, and I'm seeing you didn't ask this question about ankle socks versus long socks. I think ankle socks are the best by far. They're the most comfortable for sure. There's no debate about this. They're the least amount of material. And all these high school kids try to make fun of me, like, "Oh, I can't even see your socks." I'm like, listen, I don't give a damn. They're comfortable. I'm gonna wear them, and I don't really care what you think. And that's it. Beat
Just
it,
show them a
nerd.
bunch of Russian videos. They love
But they
ankle
don't wear it.
socks.
Man, they're the most comfortable. Least amount of material. Why would you want more material? No one wants more material.
Well,
Give
some would
me a break.
say that if you wear ankle socks, the shoe could come above the sock and rub up
And?
against you.
Nah, it's fine. Rudis makes comfortable shoes. Rudis makes the best shoes. Guys, listen. I don't. I'm a Rudis guy, and I don't. You see some of these shoes they're putting out though. Some of these other companies, they ain't even trying. Rudis, they're on fire. I saw these blue ones they put out yesterday. I'm like, ooh, those are nice. But I already got too many shoes, so I can't ask them like, oh, I want one of those.
They
And
got
then
the
they put out
snake
these
ones.
yellow ones. I'm like, I don't even like yellow, but damn, those are sexy.
Wow, it's almost like Ben gets paid by Rudis.
They get the snake
I
ones.
told you I do, but they're still listen. Objective reality. They're so much better than the
A
other
company
ones.
man.
I mean,
Have you seen them or not, JD?
I have seen them. Yes, Rudis is putting out a lot of shoes.
tons of
So
of
many.
options. They're definitely investing way more in the marketing of the shoes too. Like you don't
Yeah.
see very many commercials
Going to
or
find them, see.
ads for other
They're
shoes.
going out and they're getting a lot of
Look at those
athletes
things.
too.
Look at those things right there.
I see
Tell
it.
me
They
you
got-
don't want a pair of those, JD.
I don't know. They're a little yellow for
Look
for
how,
me.
and then look at hold on, let me find
A little
another one. Look
mustardy.
at the blues. This was my high school team's color, so I was kind of like, wow, that's a nice looking shoe.
That'd be good for like
want to wear that shoe.
a North Carolina. They're Jumpman though. They gotta probably
tell
stay
you-
loyal to Nike.
They got that Slurpee in there. That used to be a freshman sophomore year of high school after the off season practice. We'd just roll over to 7-Eleven, grab a Slurpee. That was
Have to.
nostalgic.
I know some people are gonna like those. Those I'll give you. Listen, those are a little too green for me. I don't really
Well,
love.
all I
that
can see is the
green.
bottom from that photo.
Well,
There's a
and the
snake
whole
on it.
thing. There's another pic. See, it's like.
Once
right,
again, I'm
the
seeing
whole
mostly snake there.
thing. It's freaking green. Okay, what else do you need to see?
Hey, no, but those are, I bet those will be the most popular of the three.
The snakes.
They just showed
Which
me the
one? The
snakes.
greens?
Yes.
Nah, blue or yellow for sure.
Look at how many
I
people
don't
love like
think
the
those aren't the
Adidas
same shoe
teals.
either. But those aren't the same shoe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, those are different shoes.
No, those would be cool.
Trying to find the other one I really like. Now they're posting all these world championships.
But it's good
Dude,
on
too many
Rudis.
JB posts, too many Jordan Burroughs posts. I'm trying to
That's
find
just
shoes.
what I was about to bring up. They're clearly making a hard push. They went and pulled Jordan Burroughs away from Asics after he was with them for a decade.
Yeah.
Forever,
Yeah, which
yeah.
is
Mhm.
it would have been crazy to think about in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Jordan Burroughs being represented by Rudis.
Yeah.
He's eating cereal
these,
out of that
These are
shoe.
the other ones. The new Snyders that are those are. I don't know. You see those
That's
black
the
and red.
that's a Jordan Burroughs shoey. I don't think he's a big
I
drinker.
don't advise
so he's gotta
eating
eat the
cereal out of
cereal
your
out of
shoe.
it.
That's kind of gross.
Yeah, that does look gross.
It's gross. My kid has those though. My kid really likes those shoes. The purple ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, those I don't know, little too much for me.
Look at
Little
that.
too
They even got
rich?
Spencer
Little too
Lee in some
rich.
shoes. Look at this. Spencer Lee in some shoes.
Look at
Ooh,
that.
he went with the dragon.
But
Yeah,
I don't.
Drake.
Can he wear those for his college matches? He probably can't, huh?
No, probably not. But international, he will. I bet.
Yeah, probably once he graduates at Iowa. Yeah, man, so many good. Rudis, shout out. So many good shoes. Look at that. We're putting all the good shoes out. Rudis right now.
Really doing Ben a favor right now.
I'm actually trying to find. These were the ones I'm trying to. Okay, last one. I promise I'll be done. I'll be done after this. You guys start with the ankle
check
tap,
after
though.
this, or they should be right now. So
these
check.
ones right here, the Ali ones, and they're actually like they feel like real leather. I don't know. I didn't make them, so I can't say they're real leather.
They look like real leather,
but they
look
are
like
so
boxing
nice.
shoes.
Call me when the snake shoes are made from real snake skin.
Well,
right.
so hold on. Hold on. One sec.
We're actually working on this.
Whoa, he's going to get the snake. Man,
Is he bringing out Miss Hiss?
he might be going to get Miss Hiss. They got another snake in the mix. They got more snakes
Hold
in the
on.
mix.
More snakes in Iowa City?
Gabe
So
Arnold
during my
has so many snakes.
ill-advised
Actually, I
foray
didn't
into
even think about
boxing, Rudis was gonna make a boxing shoe. And look at it's the
Oh, look at that.
personalized Rudis boxing shoe. Boom.
That's cool.
Yeah. So look at that nice USA.
Yeah, I like
So
that.
cool. Yeah, and I don't
Got
think
any
they've ever
cereal
made-
nearby?
I don't think they ever actually made them.
Hey, Tyler wants to know if you're going to eat any cereal out of that shoe. That's how you prove
Hell
the real
no!
worth of
I don't even like cereal in the first place. I don't know why you do that in a shoe.
All right, get some steel cut
the
oatmeal.
shoey thing that you referenced, JD, where that dude drinks beer out of a shoe.
Tuvesa, however you say his last name.
Yes, I have pretty low grooming standards, and like people would say like, Ben, you're kind of gross on some things I do. I would never drink anything out of a shoe. That's gross. That's super gross.
That's where you draw the line.
It's not like a new shoe. This is like someone has been wearing this shoe and they take this shoe off and there's like foot residue and who knows what that person has been walking on today. Like this is beyond what I would ever consider.
Ben Askren, noted man, not of the people.
Yeah, he's not. He's
It
not
gets the people going. It's provocative.
What?
drinking out of the
Shoeies.
There's
The fans love the
some things that
shoeies.
just aren't worth it. There's some things that just aren't worth it.
I
would not
honestly
do it.
think that's why that UFC fighter gets it's made him more popular.
Drinking out of shoes.
Yes.
Oh, it has for sure. It has, and it's not worth it. Not worth it at all. There's some things that are worth it. Not worth it.
He needs to carry it around like
He only has to do it like 4 times a year.
You know, like he should do like where and I don't drink beer, but maybe he, if he did where he like somehow stuffed a beer in there so it wasn't actually touching the foot residue, and then put it up like that.
He's got to put a mole out in the crowd and make sure he gets that exact.
Yes.
put a
shit.
plastic bag in there, something, just something.
Something, just anything, so you're not getting that gross foot sweat residue. I mean, like when you, I don't wear shoes a lot. No, when I do wear shoes, and they get all hot and stinky, like when your feet come out of there, you're like, damn, my feet are kind of gross. Ugh.
Yeah, I get very sweaty
Weird.
feet, so.
You're gonna drink out of that? Oh hell no! It ain't gonna happen.
And then you got to put the shoe back on with whatever kind of beverage.
I didn't even think about
that.
Not even think about that part. That's terrible.
That person's just walking around Vegas with a soggy foot all night.
Ew. They should probably just go barefoot the rest of the night, and then they could probably sell, because there's some weird people out there, guys. I got a funny one for you too. Hold on. They did sell that shoe on eBay. Some dude freaking sent my wife this message, and she's like, I make lots of money selling my dirty socks. Do you want to sell dirty socks?
Yeah, there's a market.
What? JD, are you buying my wife's dirty socks?
I'm not buying dirty socks.
I'm like, Amy, if you can make a bunch of money selling dirty socks, whatever. Like, buy a new pair every day and just sell that stuff on Facebook Marketplace or wherever.
Yeah,
It's so gross.
some people really love feet.
Ugh, gross, right?
Yeah.
Hey, more shameless self-promotion. Live on FloWrestling this weekend, AWA Duels.
That's right.
Boom.
We have some good matches. We got
Tune in.
I know the Rainey brothers from Kentucky are coming. We got teams from 7 states. I know Munaredo, I believe I saw him on a roster.
Mhm.
Obviously, we got our AWA guys. One of the interesting things is Mirasol, and Sinclair are the same weight class this week, because we got a whole bunch of teams, and no one ever has a lot of upper weights. So we went 175, 195 heavyweight, and none of them wanted to wrestle heavyweight. So they're so we got number 5 in the country, Cole Mirasol, on the 3rd team, unfortunately.
Wow.
I know, right?
Bad
So,
problems or good problems to have.
Yeah, we didn't do wrestle offs. We did. It's a point-based system based on how they did things last year. I was really cheering for one of them to go heavyweight because obviously, they would do really well because they're all really, really, really good. Yeah, I think
Cowards.
those are probably the best. I mean, so Wolbert's in there too, so he might mix up one of those guys. I'm trying to think if there's any other super high ranked guys that'll be there. I mean, obviously some other guys on our team, Mulvaney, Millard, Lick. I think Lick and Millard are roughly in the same weight class, so they might mix it up. Oh, Riddle just got bumped up, so Riddle and Mulvaney are both top 10, and they're in the same weight class, so they might mix it up too.
Yeah. So, man, so a bunch of those guys are just tuning up for Super 32, huh?
We actually don't have a huge content. Max is not a huge fan of Super 32.
But Sinclair's
So
in,
we
right?
don't. Sinclair and Mulvaney, they actually made me a bet. They said if they both win, I gotta wrestle in Midlands. So
Oh, okay.
I'm actually cheering for one of them to lose.
Which one?
Whichever one needs to lose, I don't care.
um, but the Rainey brothers are in at Super 32, and then
Yeah.
yeah, Sinclair's in. So okay, that'll be cool.
Yeah. Should be some good matches. Let's
Yeah,
see.
I would really be
I'm trying
interested in
to
that Sinclair Mirasola match. Either Mirasola.
Yeah. Chris Moore is he's coming up. He's number 17 right now. He's on, I don't remember which team he's on. He's on one of the Illinois teams.
Cool.
So yeah, should have a bunch of good dudes there. It should be some fun matches. Yeah, nice tune up for Super 32. For a lot of our guys, it's the bigger fall event because they get 6 matches over the 2 days. Yeah, I love it. A lot of fun.
Elsewhere in dual news, the international teams have all accepted their bids to the Freestyle World Cup, which is in about 2 months in
Nice.
Iowa City. So it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be the U.S., Iran, Japan, Mongolia, Georgia, and an all-world team in men's freestyle. Japan, U.S., China, Mongolia, Ukraine, and an all-world team in women's freestyle.
The two
Nice.
big questions I have about this are like, who from Iran? Will they bring passports when they try to get their visas? Like, what?
I think
What
it
do you
came
mean?
back.
What does that mean?
Well, if you remember about at the ballpark, one of them did not get their visa to come over, so none of them came. We were supposed to do USA versus Iran duel, and it turned into USA versus
WTF.
Legionary duel.
And it was also like they tried to get in, but like some of them didn't have their passports when they showed up to try to get their visas. I mean, it's like,
What?
yeah. So
That's what was reported, and I think that I can't remember if I read somewhere that came back up, and I don't know if it was Iran once again saying that if the same thing happens, it'll be a similar situation,
yeah,
or if somebody was just talking about it at the ballpark, but.
yeah. So that's where I feel like I don't know. I feel a lot more comfortable when we have those visas in hand and we know who's coming and all that when it comes to Iran.
Yeah,
Also,
yeah.
little Yazdani, they gave him some major rewards. Did you see that?
No, I
They
didn't.
gave him
yeah.
like the world championship treatment.
Oh,
even
in
though,
Iran?
yes, even
Oh,
though he
yeah.
did not wrestle.
Yeah, I mean, they
Uh,
realize it's not his
That's
fault.
propaganda.
And, well, we'll finally get that match. We'll get to see because both Japan and the U.S. will be in at the World Cup. So hopefully Baby Yazdani comes, and
Yeah.
we can see exactly how he would have done at the World Championships, most likely.
Yeah, the other question I have is who are which of these mercenaries are gonna agree to the all world team? Like who's in? What I want that finalized too.
What weight?
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, we're coming to that. We're coming to the that's going to be our ignition trip for our 7th and 8th grade group. So we're bringing a big group. We're excited about it.
Right on.
I think I heard you talk about like what that means, ignition trip, way back maybe on the show with Tommy. But like, what is that? What is that for people that don't know?
Ignition trip, it just means it is like to get kids excited, right? So they see something and then they want to aspire to be that, whether it's so for me, I could tell you mine were a high school state title when I went and first watched that. I'm like, oh, that's so awesome. I want to do that, and then the Olympics in 2000, I saw that and I'm like, oh, it's awesome. That's what I want to do. So hopefully getting kids to aspire to bigger things. Last year we went to Mizzou, Virginia Tech, and Northern Iowa dual. We actually were kind of we really liked the college dual thing, but there was I looked at it. We wanted it kind of late November, early December, and couldn't really find anything good in the Midwest. We're trying to go to Minnesota, Northern Iowa, looking at a lot of different places, and then just couldn't find anything we wanted to do. But World Cup should be great.
Ignition thing, not an R. Kelly thing. It's strictly wrestling.
What? You're fired.
Yeah, good old remix to Ignition.
Oh my gosh.
All right, let's get to some questions before we break for the weekend. I didn't forget last night. Almost did it. I didn't ask until about 9:30, but I did tweet out for questions. Got some responses. This guy, PhD in training, Nick Newman, I don't know, but he asked me, "Hey JD, do you know that KU beat Texas in football in recent years?" I am very well aware. I don't know if he.
I did not know that actually.
They beat them last year. It was incredibly hilarious. I don't know why he came at me with this, but I'm still allowed to be sad when Iowa State loses to Kansas. But
yeah,
many are saying that is why Texas and Oklahoma left the Big 12 was the impeding Kansas powerhouse in both basketball and football.
Get out while you can.
Exactly.
That's funny.
Speaking of which, they played this weekend. The Red River rivalry.
Okay.
Showdown? I don't know. It'll be fun. Ryan Bauer looking at adding non-D1 matches to All-Star Classic card like previously. Never say never. It would take a Tervel type who I know did it, or someone of that caliber, a multiple-time non-Division I champion who could possibly contend. It would take somebody of that caliber.
Well, we had, back in the day, we had guys that would compete in that event, but it was because it was in Iowa and our college was in Iowa. So it was I think it was probably more designed to engage local fan bases back then. And it was it was a totally separate undercard, way back.
Mm-hmm.
So, we had a couple guys from our team. Enoch Francois wrestled in that, and then we had another All-American named Andrew Lundgren who did. But it was like that. It was local. It was okay, there's a D3 All-American and NAIA All-American down the road. Let's throw them in there or whatever. So I don't think right now for this year there are no plans for that. Down the road, who knows? But not a lot of local smaller division programs here in Texas.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know there was a Wartburg guy, Byron Tate, who did it one year too, but he was a Midlands finalist as well the year before. So it would take a very high caliber guy, but never say never.
Never say
From
never.
the real Avery Lynch, who is the biggest impact player coming down in weight for 2024?
Hey, I saw this. I said, do we know all of these things are happening?
Well, Starachi is going 74. He said that in his interview.
Okay.
With Christian. I would assume Mackay is going 74. And
that's pretty wild. I mean, because you look at Staraki, and he hasn't been that small in a while, correct? Am I wrong on this? Or right?
You're right.
You are correct in this. He said
So what was his redshirt year, his redshirt year was now 4 years ago, right?
Yeah, 2019-20, yep.
And he was 174 that year.
Yeah.
Damn. I mean, that's once your body, I mean, I had the experience. I was 174, and I went down to 163. And I can tell you, 163 day of, I don't think I could have done it. I was as lean as I could be. I was sucking a lot of water weight. I got myself to where I could do pretty good on the day before. But the first year, I wrestled like dog crap because of the weight cut. I mean, my body just felt totally sucked out. So for him to do that, and he does not look small at all to me.
2 hour weigh-ins too.
2 hour weigh-ins,
2 hour weigh-ins.
2 weeks after NCAAs or whatever. I mean, it's gonna be a lot to ask.
Yeah.
He mentioned his relationship with Aaron Brooks playing a big part, and Aaron's gonna go 86, and they want to win Olympic golds together. So
okay. So then, but I thought he was talking about fighting also. Was he not?
He said like, and I'm excited for that interview to come out, but he says basically he's gonna win the Olympics in 2024 and go to fighting.
Okay,
And he's not.
got
It's
it.
not. That's not a
Well,
maybe.
so then,
From his
hold
perspective,
on. So
that is
then, if
happening.
him and in that scenario, because I guess I was pointing at, I haven't seen the interview. If him and Aaron went together, that means Aaron's going to beat out David to make the team.
Yeah, yeah, of course. That's happening according to Strachey. He's gonna beat
He
Dakin
said
Burroughs.
that.
Strachey's just gonna. He said he's gonna make 74 kilos. He's gonna feel good. He's gonna have full energy. He's gonna beat Dakin Burroughs, and he's gonna win the Olympics.
While watching it, he kind of
What-
had me going.
Yeah.
What did he say about home? So he said Aaron was going to beat David also, or did he
He
address
doesn't
that?
make that promise, but I think he believes that'll happen. But he's just when he talks about himself and his career and his goals, he talks about it like it's definitive, like it's happening. It's like
That's how you got. Honestly, listen, that's kind of how you got to do it.
yeah,
You have to be a
So,
crazy person. You have to be delusional.
well, I was trying to tell my athletes this the other day, like, now my career is all said and done, but like when I decided, I went to the ignition event, when I saw the Olympics in 2000, and I said like I'm gonna do that in 2008, like I genuinely, with all my being, I believed it, dude. I wasn't even an All American. I was like. I went 0-2 the year before at Fargo. That later that summer, I would go like I think I want to say 4-2. Like I did all right, but not like I wasn't placing,
yeah.
you know. And so like when I really it's so delusional. It was so delusional, you know.
You were
And
an
I'm like, I'm gonna,
idiot.
but seriously, Joel, that's what I'm telling these guys because they're like, I'm trying to tell these high school kids, it's like, yeah, it was a little bit delusional, that thought process. And even like, my redshirt year is like I lost 10 times. I'm like, I'm gonna go win a national title next year. That's what I'm gonna freaking do. Like that's happening. And it's like, but it doesn't make sense. I'm losing the freaking D2 and D3 kids, or I'm losing the backups from Northern Iowa. How am I going to win? That's what I'm going to do. So like you have to be there's absolutely a level of delusionality, and I don't know, from a psychological standpoint, obviously when people make it come true, it doesn't seem delusional, but there has to be. I would have to say some people don't make it come true also, because not all of my dreams came true. Like when I said I was a national title, like I made the national finals, I didn't win the national title, but compared to losing to Northern Iowa backups and D2 and D3 kids, like that's a big jump,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So
Yeah.
there's definitely some delusionality to it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I remember seeing like early matches between Dakin Taylor and Burroughs. It was like, these guys have no chance. Why do they almost like, why are they trying? And then it's like, well, now look at them.
Yeah, for sure. 100%.
So we didn't even actually get to the question. Bigger impact player coming down in weight for 2024. Strachey or Mackay at
Wait, so do we know
74,
RBY is
or
for sure too then?
RBY at 57?
Is RBY for sure going 57?
I think this is a what if. I think this question is like,
What if?
if he
I
does,
thought RBY might have publicly said he is. I can't remember.
Dude, is he
let's just-
really
I
that
feel like
small?
he can't go
If so,
65. Can he?
57 so fire, because then you got him, Dayton, Seth will probably go down, you'd have to assume, right? You got
Mhm.
Spencer Lee, you got Gilman.
Soriano's
God,
merging and accelerating.
Soriano, how much fun are we gonna have? We're gonna have so much fun.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be incredible. I think if those changes, if those weight changes happen, I would say RBY is probably the biggest impact of those three.
Yeah.
Partly
That would be-
because he's got to have a lot of opportunities to have felt Gilman, so he's probably familiar there. He knows what to expect.
Yeah.
That's the guy that's in the way right now.
And it feels like Dake will be a bigger favorite over those two than Gilman or Spencer.
And Burroughs,
And Burroughs, yes. Over
Yeah.
uh
Well, it's so weird. And then we talked about this the other day, though. Hold on. We talked about the Gilman thing, where he didn't win the NCAA title, and now he's went on to, be four-time world medalist, I think. And so I still think there's a little bit of us that thinks about him in the college light of, well, he never could win a title. He's not that good compared to these other guys, But then you look at him and you're like, why isn't he as big of a favorite? I mean, like, who has he lost to recently that makes you question him on an American circuit?
Gross and Sanders.
That's been a while now.
That was a couple years.
Yeah.
It's been like what 3 or 4 years. The
Yeah.
gross loss was they didn't make 57.
And
Well,
that was scored very weird. It was like
and that
grounded
that,
so many times, and
I think maybe to
But-
me, maybe I'm not thinking
he also
about
got
it in
horse
terms of.
layered.
Yeah, he got horse layered. Maybe to me, it's not like
that's a good
necessarily like
point, the horse.
maybe it's not a guaranteed impact player, but it's like a biggest mystery, like biggest question mark, because we've seen Starachi on the senior level, and we've seen that
At
he's
86 though,
well at 79.
79.
and 79.
We've seen him at 79, but we kind of know where he is, and so if he's gonna,
Sure, yeah.
but with RBY, like we don't, and we know that he and Gilman have wrestled in the room, like they've trained together, whereas something tells me that Starachi and Dake are probably not going to get a lot of reps together in the NLWC room. That's my guess. I don't know. So that's part of it, is like that familiarity with each other, and then just the unfamiliarity with us watching RBY. It's like, where is this guy? We have no idea.
I would once again like to remind everybody this is only because there are 6 Olympic weight classes. So, although it stinks, there are some pros.
No.
For fans. You were just talking about how awesome 57 is going to be.
Okay, fine.
And it's so awesome because it sucks for the competitors.
Mm-hmm.
All right. From Sean Carroll. Was wondering if Bo Nickel keeps ending his fights early, how much does that speed up his path to a title fight? Like if he requires less recovery and injury time, does a 24-month path become more like 12 to 15 months? Or is it a pretty set timeline?
Yeah. No, I would say, but there's I mean, yeah, that helps not being hurt in fights. Obviously,
Yeah, you can do the Hamzat thing and just
come back.
I didn't absorb one blow.
Yeah, but there's so many other factors. Like, with Chimaev, you thought he was going to probably move faster, and then it got Corona. So with injuries, contract negotiations, fight falling out. Like I got this young kid who won D3 national title who works for me, and like the last two, like it's the week of, it's been canceled because of an injury or whatever. So it's like you just never know when this type of stuff's going to happen in mixed martial arts. And the UFC does a better job than probably anyone else of putting replacements in, of like, so Bo was getting ready to fight and the opponent falls out because of an injury or whatever. They're generally pretty good at replacements, but that stuff does happen, and then especially the closer you get to a title shot, the less likely someone is to do that. I mean, if he's like, say, this fight coming up, I don't know when it's coming up relatively soon. I'm not sure when. But if his opponent were to, say, 10 days ahead, say, hey, man, I hurt my ankle, I can't fight, it would be relatively easy for them to find someone on that level to hop into that spot. But once he gets, say, to be a top 10 and he's fighting, he's number 7 and he's fighting the number 4, the number 4 falls out, they do have kind of a hard time replacing those a lot of times, and then it gets pushed, and so yeah, there's a lot of factors. Contract negotiations, obviously, as people get better, they want more money. A lot of things that can happen.
Yeah. All right. From Sam Cooper, out of Bo Bartlett, Shane Van Ness, Levi Haynes, Facundo, how many do you think will AA?
Oh, wait, sorry. Where the hell is that question at? Where'd you go?
Towards the bottom.
Towards the bottom. Oh, Bartlett, Shane Van Ness, Facundo. Ooh, that's a great question.
Wow. What?
When we say over under at 1.5, I think is the over under.
That's
right?
the over under, yeah. Because I think 1 is pretty certain. 2 is where I'm like, man, maybe. I don't think 3.
Yeah. I think. I mean, listen. Do I think all 4 have a possibility? Yes, I do. But I think
That's a good question.
It's a smaller possibility. It's a lower percentage.
I think
I'll go with 1.
I think I think Van Ness is definitely possible, but we haven't seen him, so he's up in the air for me. Facundo is in such a deep weight that's gonna be tough. Although, I mean, like you said, he could do it. He's good enough. I think Bartlett and Haynes are both in weight classes that have a lot of opportunity. They're wide open. So
true.
I'm gonna say 2. I'm gonna say 2 because all 4 have the possibility, and
Yeah.
I think Bartlett and Haynes have doors that are relatively open.
But we
Although we
also
don't even know
don't
if they're
know.
using Haynes.
We don't know they're using Haynes, and Bartlett, we don't know how. Man, everyone's saying he was so small for 49, but I had someone else relatively who's in the know tell me like Bartlett was talking about how hard it was for him to make 63 kilograms or 65 kilograms, which is a couple pounds above 141, you know?
It's
So,
143
um,
point something.
yeah, so I think we have to see how that factors in. I think people are taking, it is fact that he's going to make it and it's going to be easy. And I don't know. I'm not so sure that's going to be the case.
I can't remember who asked this. I thought it was a Twitter question. Maybe I just didn't put it in the doc, but somebody asked, does Facundo only get talked about because he's from Penn
I
State?
saw that also.
Um,
Yeah,
he definitely gets a
mean,
bump wrestling for
bump,
the best
yes.
team in the country. But I mean, he's also a multiple-time H-level world medalist. Was one of the top recruits. If I forget exactly what number he was on the big board. Coming out of high school, who's number one, competed in it multiple years. So yes, he gets a bump, but he's not a nobody who hasn't All-Americaned. He's not just some random guy.
Yeah, I feel like that's pretty. So he lost to Caleb Fish and Thomas Bullard last year, and John Martin Best. So I feel like he definitely
Ben
gets a
was losing
bump
to bums
because
too.
yeah,
Maybe he'll go
I
on
mean,
to win 2-time Hodge trophies. Maybe we should be talking more about him.
well, I mean, I guess I would say the difference with me is, I wasn't, like I wasn't on his level in high school. So that's probably I would say the difference. But yeah, he's definitely gonna bump because if someone else had the same resume, their redshirt year, I'm trying to look for his best win was
A lot of guys
probably
have
Evan
same resume.
Barzak, and it was an overtime win. Someone else had the same exact resume and they did not go to Penn State and they weren't a high level high school guy. Yeah, we probably wouldn't be talking about them very much.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, 100%. If you go to Penn State, people talk about you more. I mean, that just
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah. Sam Cooper asked another good question. Besides Max Dean, who's the most likely returning national champ to lose during the 2022-2023 season?
Most likely returning national champ.
Now, returning from last year, or can we include Shane Griffith?
Oh, that's a great question.
We can do both.
So there's three. I mean, the one weight where it's obvious is you have Shane Griffith, David Carr, and Keegan all at the same weight. So there's obvious that there's going to be some L's there. Hey, you know what I thought about last night? Fun early matchup. Wisconsin and Iowa State are wrestling like first weekend of the year.
Oh, wow.
I believe, right?
Was it
like
you and me
November
were talking?
5.
It was Bader. It's Bader and me. Yeah, because Austin Gomez was on the Bader show 2 days ago.
What time we're wrestling Iowa State?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's gonna be Mitty versus Carr. Yeah. That should be fun.
Yeah, that's an awesome match.
Yeah, so I'd say someone in the 165 probably because Yanni probably not. 141. RBY probably unlikely. Spencer probably unlikely. Staraki maybe, but not. Probably more likely than some of the others. But Brooks, same as Staraki. Max Dean is probably above them. Yeah, Max Dean or 165. Final answer.
Okay.
Is Virginia Tech going to collegiate duels? No, they are not. Okay.
And remember at collegiate duels, they don't wrestle everybody.
Right. There's the 2 pools and then day 2.
Well, there's the 2 pools, but then there's 2 pools of 2 pools. Remember? So it was 12. So like, for example, Iowa and Penn State were there, and there was 0 possibility of the 2 wrestling. There were, there was 1 here and 1 here type of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. From Hassim Muhammad on the GOAT debate. Surprise y'all never mentioned on FRL these 2 arguments. 1, John Smith lost in one of his gold medal tournament runs, and 2, Kyle Dake will never have a winning record against JB, even if he beats JB 2-0 next Olympic trials. And the John Smith loss in the Olympics is kind of like because everybody knows at the time he knew he could lose and still make gold.
Yeah.
I also hear that brought up almost every time this discussion happens.
That's brought up like every single time. I agree.
Yeah.
You know, the one thing I was thinking about the other day is that, John Smith, and I know the ideas we're probably not going to put any credence on it because you don't do it with Dan Gable and you don't do it with Cael Sanderson, or certain other people here. But John went 6 for 6 and then retired at age, I believe, 28. I think is where it was. Jordan's still here grinding at age, I don't know, he's 33 or 34 or somewhere in there. Um, like John surely could have won at least a couple more medals, and maybe a gold. But if he goes as long as Jordan, that's almost through the year 2000, right? He ended in 92 and he just continues to go. I'm sure he's going to win at least a few more medals. But I'm sure we're going to discount that argument because like I said, we don't count Gale or Cable. Cael, I said Gale or Cable. That's hilarious. Gable or Cael. They won and then hung it up.
Yeah. Yeah, there's always the what ifs. The Cael retiring from competing relatively early. Do you think at all that means that he might retire from coaching early? Or that he just wanted to coach that bad?
I mean, yeah, I would. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he retired early at all. I think, yeah, I think he probably has his eyes on Gable's record for NCAA team titles, which is what, 17,
I do
16?
not know off the top of my head. I would have to
So,
go back and
it's somewhere
reread.
in there.
Yeah, it's somewhere in there. I think he coached 25 years, right? And he
Yeah.
won like 17 or 18. He won 9 straight.
Yeah.
It might be time
So
to.
But we talked
Nomad
about
did
this
an
last
article in
week. Like, what else is
2019.
Cael gonna do? I bet he loves what he's doing. I bet he really thoroughly enjoys coaching. Like, I don't know, what's he
I
gonna
definitely
do?
don't think it's as hard on him physically and mentally
Oh,
as
for
it was
sure.
on Gable.
No, he's got a great system around him.
I also heard, like, I don't remember where I heard this story, but and so who knows if it's true, but I heard that one of the I don't think this was a part of the decision for Gable, but I heard that there was an experience that Gable had where a parent of an athlete came into his office and was like talking about the athlete. He was like, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do this, and we're gonna do this, and we're gonna do this. And I heard that kind of interaction was like the first time that Gable had interacted with a parent like that, and I think that kind of confirmed for him, like, man, things are changing, and the way that I've coached forever is this is not,
And for that reason, I'm out.
I think he
Shark
was
Tanked
like,
it.
I think he was like, he already knew he was out, but I think it was just more confirmation of like, man, I'm glad I don't have to. I can see this new wave of like parents and athlete relationships like coming, and I'm glad I don't have to deal with it. And I wonder if there'll be like a big like systemic shift like that or something where, I mean, I think with some coaches and even with
Could've
some
been
people
NIL.
that's exactly what I was gonna say. I think with some coaches and even you see like employees at the NCAA itself, they're just like, NIL, no thanks. Like, I'm out. And so if NIL continues to develop or it becomes a bigger part of collegiate sports or money gets involved in more ways, I wonder if some coaches, maybe Cael, maybe not, like, I wonder if that's an incentive to get out. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he loves it. I think so we talked about his interpersonal skills and how well he does, keeping everyone on the same page. I bet he sticks around for quite a while.
Yeah. All right, it's 9:30. Before we get out of here, a chess update from yesterday.
No, not this guy again. Can I take a different direction? I was wondering, JD. I don't want to talk about this dude and stuff up his butt. That's weird. Do you guys
No,
not
you
get
got to
tacos
see this
anymore?
picture, Tyler. You know the picture. Pull it up.
No, don't show
What?
it. What is this?
He came out to a match.
They're scanning this man. Oh my
What?
gosh. Dude,
I haven't
Well,
seen
a
any
report
pictures.
came out. It's hilarious now because it's being reported by like the Washington Post and like major news outlets. And so he had to come out. Like a report came out that said he had likely cheated over 100 times.
oh,
What?
they're
So now he's coming out and they gotta scan him down.
Oh, hell no. All right, turn that off. JD, I was wondering, do you guys never get tacos anymore because everyone else is downtown?
No, because we go over to the other office afterwards
Oh,
on Wednesdays.
so they're over there.
They're over there. They're by the time you get over there, they're probably cold, picked over.
Yeah, I gotta reheat
Oh,
them.
man.
I know. They're all the good ones were gone yesterday. I got stuck with freaking Taco Bueno.
Yeah.
Better than no tacos. I'm not one to complain, but
It's not the same.
no bacon, egg, and cheese. No Don Chago.
Yeah, it's not the same.
No sausage, egg,
Dog
and cheese.
Chago? What did you just call it?
Don Chago. It's a good taco. It's got let's see, beans, avocado, cheese,
Bacon.
bacon. Yeah, it's good.
Oh, all right.
Good taco.
Interesting.
But on that taco note, I think we're going to get out of here. I'll probably enjoy some tacos this weekend. I hope everybody at home has a lovely weekend.
We got the weekend soundtrack on right now.
That's right. Go enjoy it. We'll see everybody Tuesday morning. See you then.
Peace.